It's that time of the week when we say, thank God, it's a Friday, the 18th of October. Welcome, everyone, as we head into the weekend. Just a quick a review of our trading day for Thursday. Starting from the top with the Nigerian markets remaining in the negative territory as investors continue to pull profit off Aradel Holdings, the newly listed oil and gas company on the Nigerian exchange. Then you've got a couple of stocks also going under the knife, as it were, on Thursday. Insurance sector was down 1.13%. That's the biggest among the five key sectors we cover. Banking sector was down 0.57%. The total transactions Thursday was 3.86 million ordinary shares. We saw a few gains, however, in a few companies that released their latest earnings, such as Transcorp Power up by 9.68%. The banking sector, I said earlier, were just largely a bit mixed. Gisco was down 3.85, got a whole lot around issues around migration to a new platform, and all things went a little bit zigzag, but it's now being resolved for the banking names. Zenith Bank was better by 13 basis points. Let's move on to BRVM West Africa, 0.25% to push the BRVM composite back in the positive territory. The Ghana market remained flattish. It's been flattish since we started the week in the manner of speaking. The Nairobi stock market was 1.08% positive on a rebound as Jamie Dimon stepped into Nairobi to hold meetings with the central bank governor and the rest of his team, Dr. Kamal Tuja and a few others. You have the Egyptian 30 down by 1.31% to finish off the market week in Cairo. Cairo's markets will be reopening on Sunday. That's the start of the week. The Johannesburg stock market, just GSE, up by roughly 0.25%. Zimbabwe was better, very strong. Thursday, roughly 2%. Those are your market headlines there as far as equities are concerned. Oil prices starting today a little bit tepid. Is going for a weekly loss, as it were. But let's step into the East African corridor with this news around JP Morgan chief Jimmy Dimon taking his second foot off his underground in Nairobi. He's on a three-nation African tour. It was in Nigeria, then he went to Nairobi. He's going to be finishing off in Cote d'Ivoire, as it were. In the meantime, the Nairobi Securities Exchange and the new Ethiopian Securities Exchange team had a meeting with the market participating organization in Addis Ababa on Thursday, part of the plans preparatory to the formal opening of the new Ethiopian Securities Exchange. Safaricom says it's launched a new My Sacco app, which is going to support Sacco's operations and make it easy for transactions between Safaricom and these many cooperative organizations and credit union, as it were, in Kenya. Kenya has some of those largest big SACCOs in the entire East African corridor and the continent as a whole. Tanzania next door says it's committing to universal electricity access in Africa by the year 2030. That was the key takeaway from the ninth AFDB African Energy Access two-day conference that was held in Tanzania in the current week. A report is showing that Kenya's central bank governor did summon the CEOs of KCB, Equity Bank, and NCBA over the lending rates that the central bank considers still very high, without consideration for the interest rate quote that the financial regulator had undertaken. So they were asked to step forward and explain why the lending rates to customers within those banks are still very high. We got that over the overnight from Kenya. Let's step into West Africa. Nigeria's petrol price in September this year was about 65% or 64.5% higher than what we paid in the same period for last year. That's according to the Statistics Office. And the World Bank told Nigeria the launching of the Nigeria's macroeconomic update report yesterday to stick with the reform plan and move forward. In summary, that was what the reports really mean. Flamuse Nigeria says it's looking to put additional $1 billion into investments in Nigeria over the next 4 years to expand its production facility. And good news for Aliko Dangote, whose net worth is now around 28 billion US dollars, according to latest Bloomberg estimate, because his petrochemical refinery, or the refinery as a standalone from the fertilizer facility, is now up and running. The European Union and the IMF says they're in talks with Liberia's revenue authority on how to help the West African country boost its revenue growth. Japan has given EFDB's African Development Fund that special concessional lending window for the EFDB, additional 420 million US dollar. That's some good news there for the DFI. And Yellow Card, which is in the blockchain venture business, says he's closed $33 million Series C equity financing with roughly about 8 investors that came on board, and we also say congratulations for that. Let's get on to Southern Africa. Zimbabwe's statistics is onboarding a new director general. Mr. Tafadza Bandama is being appointed, and congratulations to her as well, taking office. In the meantime, Saudi Arabia is offering $25 million credit deal to boost South Africa's trade, while PCAMPay is reporting a sluggish sale for the third quarter. Late winter hits clothing demand for this retailer, and that's coming through from South Africa. In the meantime, the biggest economy in Southern Africa is looking to boost agriculture exports. We're talking about that at the upcoming summit of the BRICS nations, of which South Africa is the S in the BRICS. And Zambia finally is insisting on a 3 million tons of copper production target, says it's going to meet that by the year 2031, despite the electricity crisis countries are facing on the back of climate change and the drought hitting the country's dams that generates electricity, hydropower, that is. Let's finish off in the northern part. Egypt yesterday, the central bank held its deposit overnight rate at 28.25%. Overnight deposit rate was also left unchanged at 27.25%. And that's the latest from the biggest economy north of the continent, as Egypt grapples with some fiscal trouble, a few more issues around removal of subsidies and all of that. In the meantime, the country is reporting net foreign assets, about $10 billion surplus for the month of September. United Kingdom and the UK is teaming up on the area of investment and climate action, while Libya and Egypt's industrial trade forum is opened in Benghazi. That's where that conference is taking place. We want to look in there. And finally, Algeria this weekend is hosting the Afreximbank's Canex 2024. It started actually, the formalities started Thursday, and from today it's going to be a whole weekend. Afreximbank says it's going to ramp up its support of Canex from about $500 million previous to about $2 billion US dollars. Is a showcase, a weekend of fashion, entertainment, culture, everything that promotes Africa's culture there, taking place in Algeria. Algeria will be hosting the 2025 Intra-Africa Trade Fair in November next year. Keep an eye on that. The Canex is just to wet the ground, as it were. And that is taking place there. Thank you, everyone, for watching your Frontier Opening Bell this Friday. Enjoy the weekend, everyone, and let's get back together on Monday. Bye for now.